Hey, good morning, everybody. It's great to be back with you all. It's the morning briefing with Friedman Adventures. We are coming to you from a beach that is closed because of shark sightings. All right, that and so much more, including bluefin tuna in the Channel Islands. Tremendous kelp paddy fishing continuing out of San Diego. Kids with lots of smiles out of Dana Wharf Sport Fishing. And of course, we'll cover all the islands and a big bluefin in the Channel Islands with you all this morning. It's great to be with you. Thanks for joining us on this lovely morning. It is beautiful on Tuesday, and I'll tell you, there's some awfully good fishing going on and some kind of stinky fishing going on too, but the experience in the great outdoors is always the same. It's fantastic. All right, here I am in Surfside, California, and my friend John, who lives here, sent me, good morning, John, by the way, to you and your lovely family, sent me a note last night telling me that the beaches were closed because of a shark sighting. So is it just me? I mean, you know what? I kind of knew that sharks lived out there. If someone saw an elephant, yeah, then I would love to see like a big sign, elephant sighting. Be careful that you're trampled today. I'm being a little facetious, but apparently here in Huntington Beach, part of Huntington Beach now, the situation is if someone reports a shark and it's of a certain size, then they close the beaches for 1 mile. Because we all know that sharks just stay in a 1 mile radius. They never go beyond that. They're there for the rest of their lives. And also, the person that saw the shark, we're looking for sharks that are over 10 feet. The reason why I'm guessing is because they turn to eating mammals when they're 10 feet long. 9.5, not so much, your chances aren't as bad. But when they're 10 feet, they start eating sea lions, and every once in a great while, they make a mistake and bite a human, and then they pretty much spit them out and say, "Blech, what was that? Didn't taste like what I thought it was going to taste like." So anyway, they shut the beaches down to that. I can just hear the interview the lifeguards did with the guy or the gal that saw the shark. How big was it exactly? Can you give us your professional scientific view of that? That mofo was giant. Close the beaches. So I don't know if it's me or you. What do you think about that? Put a comment in our YouTube channel. Do you think that's a wise way to handle this? Or do you think that they should say, we sighted sharks, or put a permanent sign up? Great white sharks live here. They're around here most of the time. Sometimes we don't see them and they're still there. Enter the water at your own risk. Perhaps that would be the best way to handle it, but I'll leave it up to you. All right, enough of this shark nonsense. Let's get into what's going on down there. And we'll start you in Ensenada and the offshore scene. Still some bluefin being taken down there and some good scores at times for the pongeros. All my friends down there out of Ensenada and surrounding areas that are getting out and trolling with those Mad Mac lures. They're doing really, really well on those bluefin. Of course, it's bluefin. So some days you miss, some days you get them. Most of the fish in that 60-pound class, but there's a lot of stuff still wandering around over 100 pounds, and some down there in the 20, 25-pound range as well. But really good fishing. I talked to Arnie from Arnie's Sport Fishing out of Ensenada, and Arnie tells me the fishing's really, really good, and you can add to that some really good kelp paddy action on mostly yellowtail. And the great yellowtail, you get those 5-pounders and get quite a few of them, but most of it's been 8 to 12 pounds and above. We've even seen 30-pounders on the kelps. I'll get more in depth on that in just a moment. We look at the San Diego fleet and what they're doing down in that Mexican waters area, and actually there's bluefin everywhere. There's bluefin at Catalina, at San Clemente, up in the Channel Islands. I'm going to tell you about the Mirage in a second. What an incredible sight they saw coming home after limiting out on white sea bass. Incredible stuff going on. They're everywhere. So that bluefin tuna is everywhere, but it has been really fickle and not biting that well. Now, having said that, 2-day trips, 3-day trips out of San Diego are in that 30 to 50 range on the bluefin tuna, and long range boats are still doing really, really well when they focus on that bluefin tuna. That nighttime bite is when it bites really well, but we see a lot more daytime fish, and we're even seeing bluefin on the 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. boats out of San Diego. So it's around, but man, has it been inconsistent this year, and has it had lockjaw for most of the year? It just doesn't want to bite. It's been an A1 pain in the neck, as I've been telling you, and man, it shows itself. You see a foamer, and then it doesn't want to bite. So hopefully that's going to settle in here one of these days. I've been saying that for well over a couple of months now. Actually, earlier in the season, I don't know if you remember, but that's when it was biting nails, and it was really, really consistent. Right now, it is really kind of finicky, and most of the guys are turning their attention toward the kelps. When you're fishing that bluefin tuna, you definitely want to have that 30 to 40 pound. That is the way to go. My friend Valentino, you want to have that fluorocarbon, and we like Opsin, www.opsinusa.com. USA, baby. And put in FA at checkout. You'll get a handwritten note from Greg Brown as well as a free gift. So make sure you do that. Choosing a good hot bait, all of that stuff works well. Poppers on the daytime foamers, that works really well. Daiwa spinning gear is totally up to par when you're fishing poppers, and you don't want to fish a popper with a conventional reel. You want to go spinning, and you can have plenty of drag on the beautiful Daiwa reels that are out there to fish that stuff with a spinner and have a lot of fun with it. So all of that is in play right now with this bluefin. And I've been telling you, you're likely to encounter, not likely, but you can encounter bluefin tuna just about anywhere you go right now. And you'll hear about that on board the Mirage in just a little bit. I want to turn my attention to kelp paddy fishing because, my God almighty, is it good. And Friday, we're on board the Malihini. There's a few spots left. There's a link in today's show description. You click on it and you can book, and I'll see you down there. But it's going to be fun because the kelp paddy bite right now doesn't get much better than it is. My friend Isaac Parcell just coming in on the Pacific Voyager, and he had a great trip. In fact, all week long he's been sending me notes. He's watching the morning briefing. He goes, man, you've got me so fired up. I'm so excited about this trip. I'm just can't wait. And I'm thinking, God, I hope this guy is on a good trip. Please let Isaac catch him. 10 a.m. in the morning on the Pacific Voyager, limited out on Yellowtail. So the guys on the Voyager say, hey, let's go into the beach and fish some rockfish. Not the beach, but let's fish some rockfish and limit you out on that. And they did just that with some outstanding rock fishing to boot. Nothing wrong with that. Isaac said a blue and white 7X really made all the difference in the world. Outstanding fishing going on. Now, the yellows on the kelps, they're nice fish. Now, listen, there's some 5-pounders in there. There's quite a few 5-pounders, but there's a lot of 8 to 12-pound stuff, and there's some fish that even get over 25, even 30 pounds. So overall, the grade of kelp paddy fish, which many times is just rats, is really nice. It's beautiful fish, and it's biting very well on the fly line sardine. Same thing. You want to go with that 30, 40-pound fluorocarbon. By the way, on the bluefin, keep bringing your 2-speed reels and your 100-pound. Please, I didn't mean to omit that. Please do that, and you'll be properly tackled up. So this kelp paddy fish, that fluoro works well, but so does the iron. As I mentioned, Isaac said a blue and white 7X, nails, limited out, no problem. And the thing about fishing iron on a kelp is you're not messing around, choosing a bait, taking your time. You don't even have to do that. You just, especially on the Malihini, you just go up to the bow where there is so much room. That bow was made for throwing the iron. You just camp yourself up there, and when Bill pulls him back, you're firing an iron on the lip of the kelp, and then let it sink down and then wind on it. If you don't get bit on the sink, you will get bit on the wind. 40, 50 pound at least when fishing the iron. They'll bite it, and it gives you an advantage, so keep that in mind. San Diego on their 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. trip, 76 yellow, 64 big bonita, and an incredible show on the bluefin tuna. That stuff is there, and it could bite at any point in time. It's the perfect scenario. You get to see the bluefin tuna, and they just might turn on one of these days. Who knows? Maybe. Kind of like my albacore. But you actually get to see the bluefin. The albacore is still kind of a phantom. But in the meantime, you got kelp paddy madness, and that is plenty. After you get done with that, you've had a great day's fishing, and then you got hopes that maybe that bluefin will turn on. Grande, 73 on the Yellowtail, 2 bluefin, 13 bonita, and a couple of flatheads. Those Dorado are around, you will see them. And we saw this exact same thing. We see it many, many years. You see Dorado, they don't want to bite. They need to acclimate to their new environment. They pushed up the Baja coast. You know, here in America, there's different foods than there are in Mexico and different cultures. So the Dorado have to acclimate to this new environment. And once they do, they'll start to bite. We're picking at them right now, but at some point in time in the future, you would think that's going to turn on. Constitution on a 2.5 day just started looking around, had 100 mixed fish, mostly yellowtail, few Dorado, really great fishing, a lot of 10 to 18 pound fish, but he says he had fish up over 30 pounds. Excellent fishing going on. There's just no question about how good it is. Don't wait much longer, although I will say, I think it's only going to get better, but you never know. I mean, trying to predict fishing like my albacore, it's really very difficult. Right now it's biting, and to add to it, it's just freaking gorgeous. Flat calm, and the forecast through the weekend up until Friday, I know I looked at that because we're on the Malihini, it's going to be gorgeous. No wind, flat calm, easy kelp paddy spotting weather. It should be really, really good. All right, let me take you to the islands and talk about Todos Santos there off of Ensenada. A lot of barracuda, a few yellowtail there. Yellows down the coast at Santo Tomas have not been biting as well, but there are good flurries down in that neck of the woods, so we still have a lot of fish down there. As we move you up to the Coronado Islands, there is still some really great fishing going on at the Coronado Islands. Guys that are fishing that, and most are starting, if you're talking about San Diego-based boats, are turning their attention to offshore because it's just too good. But there are boats in the 20 to 50 range on yellowtail. A good hot fly line sardine has been the way to go, but they'll bite the surface iron. There's barracuda, there's calico bass. The islands are good right now and biting very, very well. And then now we turn our attention to, and I don't give up where they're catching the fish because, well, I just don't. All right, but you can pretty much figure it out. San Clemente, Santa Barbara, and Catalina Island. We'll talk about that right now. There's some conking on the sea bass going on right now at islands like Santa Barbara and other places. The Pride on an overnight trip out of 22nd Street Landing in beautiful San Pedro, California. 18 guys, 54 white sea bass. How about Redondo with the Pescador? Limits of white sea bass. It doesn't get much better than that. The Navigante out of Redondo also in on some good sea bass fishing. It is good for the guys that are fishing at that particular island. It has been really, really good fishing. 10-ounce torpedo with a dropper loop at times. Other times it's a lead head, like a 3-ounce lead head, and then still other times when you're in the short water, you can fish with a sliding egg sinker. You want to fish that with fluorocarbon. You want to go with 30-pound, 40-pound in that neck of the range. Depending on the intensity of the bite is how heavy you are going to fish, and there is some good fishing going on. At Clemente, whoops, there is some really good fishing also. You got to deal with those dumb sea lions, but you got to deal with that everywhere nowadays. But on board the Freedom, Trevor ran the boat, gave Tino Valentine a much needed day off. And man, I'll tell you, Trevor, the kid, he's doing so great. 26 yellowtail, the Amigo 19 yellowtail. Again, fly line bait has been the way to go. Catalina Island has just been really tough. I mean, really, really tough. I mean, well, it's just been tough. And it remained that way for the most part. A lot of guys like the freelance stopping, fishing rockfish before they go across. They've got insurance. They got their people taken care of. They got nice rockfish, good eating fish. Then they go to Catalina and you try to get one of those foamers of bonita to play. And a lot of those are acting like bluefin tuna. You see them and they don't bite all that well. Sometimes they do, and they do get a late bite on that. Yesterday on the freelance, other boats, Sport King, Pursuit, picking at the calicos, picking at the bonita. Pursuit had a big halibut and a white sea bass, but overall pretty tough over there at Cat. Just gorgeous though. I mean, beautiful conditions. It can't get any nicer than it is right now. All right, up to the Channel Islands. Tremendous white sea bass fishing going on for several of the boats yesterday, and they're already into them this morning. Wonderful fishing. I mean, limit style fishing. Now, Slammin' Sammy. Sammy is one heck of a Friedman Adventures fan. We love you, Sammy. Thank you so much for all you do for us to help spread the word about Friedman Adventures. He sent me a note last night and said, Phil, they got a giant bluefin tuna on board the Mirage. 100+ pound fish. And Sammy, I appreciate that. So there it is, beautiful fish after catching limits of white sea bass. And Bob Cerami, who's been on our trips, Friedman Adventures trips. Bob, good morning to you and your lovely family. What a trip. He said he had easy limits on the white sea bass. And then he said as they were coming home, and this is what Slam and Sammy told me also, as they're coming home, they come up on this foamer of bluefin tuna. Limits of white sea bass. They're trying to clean all these fish, and then they roll up on this big foamer of bluefin tuna, and a guy gets 110 pound BFT. How can it get any better than that? Tremendous fishing up there. Same kind of tackle I mentioned before about, dropper loop and having the lighter sinker rigs. 25, 30 pound. I would go toward the 30. Most of the time, the intensity of the bite, you can fish 100 pound. It's really incredible fishing. And I can't say enough about the Channel Islands and what a great bite it has been up there in that neck of the woods. Looking at the coast overall, it's slow. I mean, there's pockets of barracuda, there's rockfish. And when I say slow, I'm talking surface fish. I mean, we're July, so you're thinking, wide open sand bass, wide open calico bass, wide open barracuda, some yellows. That's not really happening with any consistency anywhere. So it's tough fishing if you're looking for that. But there's sculpin, there's rockfish, there's decent bass fishing, especially if you are doing what's right. I know a lot of guys sometimes will say, the guys who knew what they were doing, well, why don't you tell us what that means? And what it means is fishing light line, dropping down to 12 pound, 15 pound when you're fishing bass. You're going to get caught in the structure sometime and broken up, but you're going to get bites, and choosing a good hot bait. That makes all the difference in the world. So keep that in mind. All the way up the coast, up there in the Channel Islands, Island Spirit. My good friend Cody Rogers runs that boat out of Ventura Harbor, sport fishing 805-676-3474. Incidentally, the Endeavor all over the sea bass as usual. Tucker McCombs, is there a harder working guy in this business? I don't know. Anyway, back up there, they're finding pockets of barracuda. Sometimes it's a little slow, just as it is everywhere along our coast. Sometimes it bites nails. So pretty interesting things going on, and maybe it's going to be a fall bite here on the beach. So the surf, be very careful about putting your toe in the water here in Sunset, because there's a shark sighting. Sharks live out there, actually. I haven't seen any elephants or giraffes lately, but there are sharks out there. So I'm just trying to be cute here. All right, down there around San Diego, all the way up, there's pretty good corvina fishing up and down the beaches. Most of the time, natural baits are going to work best. Mussel, sand crabs, sandworms, that kind of stuff, ghost shrimp, all working pretty good. Good yellowfin croaker bite down there off Huntington Beach. That is going very, very well. And also up in the bay, we're seeing pretty good corvina fishing around the Topaz Rock Jetty and up there around the Redondo Pier. All right, I mean, come on. This is pretty darn incredible here today. You got to admit that bluefin up in the Channel Islands is absolutely fantastic. And that kelp paddy fishing out of San Diego doesn't get any better. It's good. And one of these days, those bluefin tuna are going to show up. And maybe my phantom albacore, my hopes are going down the tubes second by second as the clock ticks away. And I'm saddened by another horrible prediction. But maybe they'll show up. All right, I'm going to leave you with our trip. And I was just there to see everybody off. I got to give kudos to my friend Sam De La Torre from Island Fishing Tackle in Carson, California. He took over and did a great job the other day on board the Clemente out of Dana Wharf Sport Fishing. Great crew, great people in the ticket office. Donna, so fantastic. Friends of Rollo, making it all happen. The IGFA also helping out. I'm going to leave you with a little video with regard to that, and then I will see you all back here really, really soon. Live broadcast tonight, 7 p.m. I can't wait. It's going to be fun. Jolene Thompson, lady angler. She's done it all. She's going to tell you what it's like to be a lady angler, and of course share some of her tips and secrets on how you can get a bite. See you tonight at 7, everybody. Have a lovely day. I normally go for a swim, but not today. guys, it's Phil Friedman from Friedman Adventures, and you see all those kids going out on the Clemente from Dana War Sport Fishing for a really special day. I want to thank IGFA, Friends of Rollo, and of course, Dana War Sport Fishing. They're going out to make dreams come true.
Have fun, guys.